Carson Palmer's weekly appearance during the NFL season brought to you by our friends, our partners, Level Select CBD. Looking for next level relief? Visit levelselectcbd.com. Carson Palmer, three of his former teams were in the playoffs. Bengals, of course, advancing against your Raiders, and now you have the Arizona Cardinals tonight against the Rams. Let's start with the Bengals. What do you see with Joe Burrow as a former quarterback looking at a current quarterback?
I think the thing that jumps out to me most is just his calmness. And it's since his first start as a rookie, he just has a certain poise and calmness in the pocket that can't be taught, it can't be coached, it can't be worked on, it can't be improved. You either have that and you only notice it when things break down and there's chaos around him. He doesn't, even from, again, that first start as a rookie, he doesn't freak out and look to get rid of the ball and potentially throw it into the opposing team's hands. He stays cool. He stays calm. He throws it away when he's supposed to. He takes a sack when he's supposed to. He just doesn't make that big mistake or that big turnover. And that's been consistent since we started watching him play at LSU.
And then you have Jamar Chase. And I guess the benefits of having somebody that you're basically the same age as. Whereas, Aaron has Devontae Adams. Like, we have separation in ages sometimes. But how much of a benefit is that? Or is it a benefit that you have somebody who's basically learning as you're learning?
Yeah, and more importantly, the time on task with each other. I mean, those guys, you can see it. I mean, Joe's letting the ball go before Jamar is finished, breaking at the top of his route. The rhythm and timing of their natural passing game together is spectacular. It looks like they've been doing it for a while together, and there's a reason for that. It's because they have been doing it for a while together.
The Kansas City Chiefs last night scored 5 touchdowns in around 11 minutes of game time.
That's the Chiefs that we're used to seeing. I mean, the whole first half of the season, we did not see that. We saw every opposing team sit back and play coverage and play in 2 deep shells and force Patrick to check the ball in. And we've been hearing about it all season. And then you saw the transition and the transgression of Mahomes deciding, okay, I can't always look for Tyreek Hill on a deep over route and try to hit Kelsey up the seam. And he's gotten better. It's developed his game. We've seen Patrick Mahomes develop more in this year than any other year of his career. And there's been more development than his MVP years, than his Super Bowl years prior. He is developing more and understanding, taking what the defense has given him at this stage in his career. And it's been really fun to watch. And then all of a sudden you're seeing Patrick Mahomes realize all those checkdowns I was throwing and all those getting the ball out of my hands, quick throws. Now we saw last night him getting the benefit of taking those checkdowns, which is the defense sucks up and comes up and plays those checkdowns. And you saw him hitting some of those deeper and more intermediate routes last night.
I normally don't want to encourage my quarterback or hope that he runs more, but with Josh Allen, it just feels like he needs to do that. And he runs differently than Lamar Jackson does, but there's something about that weapon that as much as I worry because he does take on contact, like how can you run that way and have a prolonged career?
Well, you don't want to take away from his strength. I mean, that running ability opens up that Buffalo offense, and it opens up the rest of his game. And you do not want to take that away from the guy. He's built for it. He's not 195 pounds. He's all of 240 pounds, 250 pounds, where a lot of those guys that are tackling him way less than him. So, you're right. I mean, there's something too. You don't want to put the franchise at risk every time he takes off past the line of scrimmage. But at the same time, that's his game. That's what got him here. That's what's got that team this far in the playoffs. You don't want to tell him, hey, we're paying you to throw it. We're not paying you to run it. You want to let him, maximize the strength of his game, but also be smart. And to this point, he's been smart. He's gotten down. He hasn't taken on hits. We have seen him hurdle guys and jump over guys. You can't take that away from him. You can't tell a dog not to bite. Those things naturally happen. And you don't want to see him rush for 150 yards 15 out of 17 weeks, but you also don't want to tell him, whoa, we're paying you to throw the ball.
Yeah, it's just such a weapon. And, when you see him run, then you go, oh my God, that's why he runs, because he doesn't like run out of desperation. It's like he knows I'm a weapon. Deal with me. And not that that mattered with New England. I mean, the way Buffalo played. I mean, that doesn't happen to Bill Belichick. Buffalo threw a perfect game on offense.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see Belichick get blown out in the first quarter ever, especially especially when you talk about, two AFC East teams. I mean, those teams know each other inside and out. Yeah. Bill Belichick has been drumming the Buffalo Bills for the last 20 years. But I'm not going to lie, it is kind of fun to watch Belichick, with his hood on, with his face cover up, and seeing him down 21-3 early. I mean, that was fun. We don't get to see that very often.
Well, okay. Which loss do you think more people enjoyed? The Patriots or the Cowboys?
I think the Patriots. I mean, the Cowboys, we're used to seeing an early playoff exit. They haven't been as dominant as the Patriots. The Patriots and Belichick have just been so dominant. I think the entire country was happy to see that. Other than the Patriot fans, obviously, I think most of the U.S. was happy to see Belichick head home in the first round.
All right, explain the final play for the Cowboys that Dak said they practice it, but do you practice it the way you're supposed to, and that is making sure that official touches the ball so you can, spike it?
That right there is what goes through every quarterback's head in the 2-minute drill. Can I take off and run it? Can I complete this ball in bounds? Because the X factor in all of the games is the referee, whether you as a team and organization, make the game close enough to where a ref can screw it up for you and make the bad call, or you make the clock situation so close that the ref can screw it up and knock you out of the way and almost fumble the ball. I mean, that's why coaches harp all the time, and you're starting to see it over the last handful of years. When receivers and running backs have the ball, they are running the ball physically to the ref in a 2-minute situation, gingerly handing it to the ref, because most refs are going to fumble it and drop it, and their hands are cold and they're not used to touching the ball. But that's the game right now. I mean, in a 2-minute situation, do we put the game in the ref's hands where the ref can make a call or throw a flag and we could win or lose off of that poor decision or right decision? And can Dak take off and run and get the ball clocked with enough time for one play left? I mean, that at the end of the day, playing for Bruce Arians in Arizona, he would always harp on it. Do not let a ref screw this for us. The refs will screw this up one way or another. Do not let them screw it up. And unfortunately, that's what happened in Dallas.
Okay, the play itself, got any problem with the play that was drawn up?
No, because if it worked and there was 2 seconds left on the clock, it would have been brilliant and heads up. And then had they thrown a Hail Mary for the touchdown, McCarthy would have been this genius that had been coming up with all these in-game scenarios and practicing this and that. At the end of the day, it's probably not the right decision. It's something you can work on, and it works half the time. It doesn't work the other half. Just unfortunately, what we saw happen was it didn't work that half of the time for the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I wonder about this, that when you're practicing, do you practice where the quarterback gives it back to the center, or do you give it to the official in that moment?
You've got to give it to the official because the official has to spot the ball. The center cannot spot it. So again, you're putting yourself at the ref's whim. Yeah. If the ref screws it up and fumbles it and the ball bounces, 10 or 15 more yards, and then the opposing defense, if they're smart, they'll probably kick it another 3 or 4 yards and hopefully not get a penalty for that. But I just think in this day and age, you cannot put the game in the ref's hands. The game needs to be determined by the players, and putting yourself and your team in that situation where you then have to get up from the slide and transfer the ball from your hands to the ref, to the center, to the spot. There's too many logistics, too many things that can go wrong like we saw.
Talking to Carson Palmer, former NFL quarterback, his weekly appearance brought to you by LevelSelectCBD.com. Any issues with Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, I mean, I think it was really telling at the end of the game when I think it was 3rd and 11, they motioned Debo in the backfield, and on 3rd and 11 handed the ball off to a receiver. Tells you all you need to know about the confidence that Kyle Shanahan has in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, wait, but you don't have any issues with Garoppolo?
As far as, I think Jimmy's a nice player. I think he's a good player. I think the future of the San Francisco 49ers is wearing number 5 standing on the sidelines. But, that interception that Jimmy threw where he just, that's a ball you can't miss. You can't be outside the pocket with nobody around you and throw the ball 5 feet over a guy's head in the playoffs. That's just, there's enough of those that have happened that tell me when I see Kyle Shanahan on 3rd and 11 for the game, hand the ball off to a receiver, that's the amount of confidence he has in Jimmy G. And he knows he's a good enough coach and that team is there's good enough players on defense. There's good enough players surrounding Jimmy on offense that he can get away with it. But we can all see the future of the San Francisco 49ers, and that's in Trey Lance.
Handicap Cardinals-Rams tonight. What's it come down to?
Well, I just think ever since DeAndre Hopkins has been on the sideline with a knee injury, everything's been different. The first couple times, when DeAndre's in the lineup, the first time the Cardinals played the Rams, it wasn't even close. The Cardinals drummed the Rams. This time it's just different. Since we've seen DeAndre, we have not seen that security blanket. We have not seen the explosive offense that we're used to seeing. The Cardinals are good enough on defense. They do have enough game wreckers, guys like Chandler Jones, Budda Baker on defense to make a game-changing play. But I'm not gonna lie, I am concerned about my Cards. I don't like us without DeAndre. I have not seen enough explosiveness on offense without DeAndre. And I'm unfortunately seeing the Rams go on and win this game and then probably go to Green Bay next week.
I think they go to Tampa. I think the winner goes to Tampa.
Okay.
Niners are going to Green Bay.
Okay, even better. But yeah, I just don't see the firepower. I don't see Kyler has not been the same player. He has not been as dominant. He has not thrown for as many yards. They have not scored as many points since DeAndre's been out of the lineup. And I don't know if they can get past the Rams tonight.
Playoff wins in the last 25 seasons. Jake Delhomme, 5. Trent Dilfer, 5. Mark Sanchez, 4. Brad Johnson, 4. Colin Kaepernick, 4. Dallas Cowboys, 3. Ouch.
I watched Jerry Jones' press conference after the game, and I don't know what's going to happen with McCarthy. I mean, he said it after the game. This is one of the most depressing losses that he's seen his Cowboys have in as long as he can remember. We all know he's quick with the trigger on coaches. We all know he always thinks the grass is greener with another coach. He said it. I mean, when the owner comes out and says, we've got great players, we've got a great pool of players here, that is a direct finger point right between the eyes of the head coach. So I think these next 48, 72 hours are going to be interesting to see what happens in Dallas.
But if you're Dak, do you have to go to bat for your head coach?
I think so. I mean, Dak had a successful year. Dak played well. Dak put up great numbers. And McCarthy's an offensive guy. And I know Kellen Moore's calling the plays, but everything is flowing through game plan wise through McCarthy. So, I think you'll see Dak. That's the type of player he is. That's the type of teammate he is. He's always had his coaches back. I think Dak will have some nice things to say about McCarthy. But at the end of the day, there's one guy making choices in Dallas, and that's Jerry Jones.
Thank you, Carson. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Carson Palmer, brought to you by the CBD, trusted by professional athletes. Level Select CBD provides targeted relief, helps treat everyday discomfort when you need it the most. LevelSelectCBD.com, promo code DP30. That will give you $30 off your entire order. Not available in Idaho, Iowa, and South Dakota.